Hi, I'm Sam London, Board Game Geek's another horror fan and designer of Firefight Tactical. The number one question I've gotten since Firefight Tactical was announced was, how does the solo work? Is there solo? People want to know about the bot. And so I'm finally going to cover that today in this video. It's been teased for a while. Honestly, at the beginning when people were asking about the bot's largely unchanged now from what it was then. I just didn't have as much confidence in it as I do now, so now I'm more than happy to walk everybody through it. So what we're going to do with this video, we're going to cover the bot, we're going to cover its logic. It's not going to be exhaustive, but it'll definitely be enough for everyone to understand how it functions, and then we'll dive in and we'll play a little bit of a scenario so you can see the bot in action. So let's get into it. So the bot in Firefight Tactical is run by a small deck of cards. It's going to be smaller than 15 card deck, just to give you an idea. And each card is going to control an action of the bot. So it's still going to be I go, you go, as normal Firefight Tactical would be against a human opponent. It's just when it's the bot's turn, you flip the top card of the deck, you resolve the card, and then it goes back to your turn. So this is what a bot card looks like. Let's cover the anatomy a little bit, and then we'll get into what it does. So a bot card has these sections in it. These are called nodes. So this card has a pinned node, a fire node, and a move node. And then each node has, in turn, a number of triggers, which are the individual lines here. So this pinned node has 2 triggers, this fire node has 4 triggers, and this move node has 3 triggers. Now, when you resolve the card, you're going to resolve it from top to bottom until you find a trigger gets procced, and then you'll resolve that node, and then that's it for the card. You don't have to resolve any more of it. In the event that none of the triggers on the card ever get procced, what'll happen is you get to the bottom of the card and the bot will pass. We'll cover exactly what that means shortly, but so you got your nodes, you have your triggers, and then some nodes will have this big question up here in the upper right. This is called an override. And again, we'll cover overrides in a moment. In the lower left over here, we have our op fire profile. So this will cover how the bot will op fire. We'll come back to that. And then the last bit down here is the ID of the card. So let's actually cover that right now. So Firefight Tactical is going to come with 2 bots, the attacker bot and the defender bot. So here, A means this card is from the attacker bot deck. The next bit there is the I, meaning that this is from the infantry subdeck of the attacker bot deck. So all of these cards that you'll see here are infantry control cards. There's also leader bot control cards, which are going to be in this scenario, and then there's also vehicle bot control cards, but those will not be in this scenario because the scenario doesn't have vehicles. Then the last bit is super important over here, C5, which means that this comes from the cautious deck, and this is card 5. So you have your attacker bot, you have your defender bot, and then both the attacker and the defender in turn have the reckless deck and the cautious deck. Now the idea here is that you could play against the reckless bot, you could play against the cautious bot, and deal with the maximally reckless or cautious version of the bot. But the intention that I'm hoping a lot of people will use it for, and how many use it today, is that you'll actually mix these up. Now, you're always going to have only one copy of card 5 for balance reasons, but card 5 can come from either the cautious or reckless deck. And so you can kind of shuffle between them, and you'll end up with only one of each card number, but from the different decks. And in my opinion, the most fun way to do that is to pull them randomly from the decks, so you don't know which one came from which deck until you're in play against it. And then you'll have a bot that's reckless in some circumstances and cautious in other circumstances, and you won't really be able to predict it. So again, that's how we're going to be doing it today. So let's get into how you actually resolve a bot card. So when you flip a card, and you're going to take the bot's turn, you look at the top node first. And so in this case, we're looking for pinned units. And so when we are evaluating a trigger, what we're looking for is the trigger to describe the game state that's currently happening, and then look for a proximate actor that can act according to the node to modify the game state. It's a lot of jargon, but it's actually not that complicated. Let's look at something really basic like this move node at the bottom. So for this move node, this first trigger is, do any of your proximate actors, so your units, have Fog of War adjacent to them? And so if they do, you would then activate one of those units to move, because this is a move node, to move them into that Fog of War and modify the game state, meaning it would presumably no longer be Fog of War, or at least there's a unit in it now. In addition to that, there's also this bit over here about the override. So the way that this will work, well, let's cover specifically a move node, is that you're going to look for a game state that matches. So Fog of War adjacent to an available unit. If there is more than one such situation, which there very frequently will be, the ties are broken according to the specifics of the node. So for a move node, the tie will always break in favor of the zone that would be entered, this Fog of War zone, that's closest to a known objective. And then if there is more than one actor unit that could move into that Fog of War card, it is going to give priority to the unit that is the furthest away. And so that's the way that these move nodes ties are broken. Anytime you still have ties after you look, you use these tiebreakers, you would just determine it randomly. But if you didn't have a Fog of War card adjacent to one of your units, you would move to the next trigger. So is there a Fog of War zone that is presumably not adjacent, but the source, meaning where the actor is coming from, the terrain effect modifier is +1 or less. And so it would go on down like that until you get to the bottom of the node, and then you would continue, or if it's the bottom of the card, the bot passes. Coming back to an override, this node has the scout override. And so what that means is when you evaluate this node, first you're going to evaluate it only for units that can scout. And then if a unit that can scout can act on one of these triggers, rather than resolve a move action, you would resolve a scout action instead. And if you go through and you have no units that have scout that can do this, you would then go back through the node one more time, now as a general move node for all of your other units. But again, as soon as you would have one that matches, either the scout or a normal unit, you'd perform the action, that ends the card, and it goes back to your turn. So that's generally how the bot functions. The only other thing to cover before we can get into a little bit of play here and see how it works is opfire. And so anytime you take a move in Firefight Tactical against the bot, so long as you are in range of an available unit controlled by the bot, you would flip the top card of the bot deck, and you're looking down here. And what this will tell you is, if you are within this range, so in this case 3, of that unit, and this type of line of sight, then the bot will interrupt your movement to perform opportunity fire. So these come in 2 flavors. So here you have open, so it will only take the shot if you're in open line of sight, your moving unit. And the other one would have the slash through it, being hindered line of sight, in which case, so long as you're within this range, it'll take the shot. This card here is from the Cautious deck, so just to give you an idea, not only does that have a lot of impact on this, that also makes the bot quite a bit more timid about opportunity fire. They need much more sure shots, less hindering, if hindered line of sight, and then their range, their willingness to fire at range is a bit lower than the Reckless deck. So that's about it. So let's actually do what I said we were going to do and create our bot for this demo organically. So this is the Cautious deck, this is the Reckless deck. The leader cards are in here as well, so I'm just going to, these are paired. This is a little bit more awkward to do in Tabletop Simulator than it is in person, but that's fine. So I'm just going to go through, and we're picking one randomly from each deck to compose our bot deck. Oh, I almost forgot to say something very important. So how does the bot actually pull dice? So After performing an action, when the trigger occurs and the bot is going to perform an action with a unit, it's going to perform the action with that unit no matter what. It will try to pull an appropriate die that corresponds to the action that the bot took if it can. But if it can't, it will pull any die, because no matter what, it will perform that action, but it will specifically pull the die in such a way that is intended to mess you over with what you're trying to do. So in this scenario, we're going to be playing against a German attacker bot, and I'm the American defender. And because I'm the American defender, anytime the bot needs to pull a die and the die doesn't exist, it's presuming that because I'm the defender here, my aggression dice are higher numbers, so it's going to prioritize burning higher value dice. And anytime the bot has a choice, it will always choose to burn a colored die instead. The last thing I didn't mention is the deck will also have a shuffle card in it. Anytime that gets revealed, you shuffle up the deck. So here is our randomly composed bot deck that is ready to go. I am not going to cover any of the rules of Firefight Tactical, like the normal gameplay rules, because I've covered those in other videos. The only exception to that is I have not covered how concealment works. But here I'm kind of intending to show off that the bot works with concealment just fine. So I will cover concealment, as any rules about it are, unknown to viewers that have viewed my other videos. So the German player is going to be controlling, the bot is going to be controlling all of these guys. This is about last night. This is the fourth scenario. This is about the German counterattack on Saint-Mary-Église. And so I, as the American player, am in town. I have these 4 buildings, and the center of town here is in my recon. So that house is going to be very helpful. And then the German is coming in from this map edge and this map edge. The objective for the German in this scenario is to have, at the end of any game turn, for all 3 of these buildings to be vacant, or to get any of its units into this building. So that is what the bot is going to be trying to do. When working with the bot, you can treat all the concealed units concealed. It's going to be very straightforward. The only exception to how you would play against a human player when playing with the bot and concealment is that leaders begin revealed, because that's going to help us actually drive the action with the leader bot. So let's get into it. The German has initiative, so we flip the top card. So fire. None of them can fire because they're all in the staging area, so we go on down. Move. The override is assault. None of the units have assault because they're all concealed. When you are working with concealed units, in order to unconceal them, it's going to happen when either I fire on them for fire by recon, or if they actually activate to fire from concealment. Otherwise, they normally won't unconceal themselves, and they're just going to be performing the actions that are available on the concealment counter, which will allow them to remain concealed. So coming back down here, none of them can assault because none of them are revealed. There is not an objective zone that is undefended. There is not a zone with that's already in melee or has a lone pinned enemy for them to move into. So is there a fog of war zone that they can move into with a source tem that's less than or equal to +0? That will always evaluate for the staging area. So yes, there are tons. So they are going to try to move into fog of war that is closest to a known objective, which, because there are no diagonals in the game, would be these 4 cards. So, since they're all tied, we're going to determine this randomly. So we'll say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. Let's roll that up real quick. 2. Okay, so they're going to move in from here, and we'll just grab a random unit. Okay, and they moved into there. They need a 4 or 5 to move. There is none in their private reserve. Because they're the attacker bot, they'll always prioritize their private reserve if they can. So instead, they'll pull a 4... Oh, I missed that 6. They're going to pull a 4 or 5 from the common pool. They'll pick highest first, prioritizing color, and that'll activate that unit. Now, I can opportunity fire to try to figure out who that is. And I think I want to show how that works to also just kind of show how concealment works. So I'm going to reveal this sentry squad, and I'll use this red to do their better because I don't have a 5 there. So I'm doing op fire -3. As soon as I declare the attack, the card is revealed. So they're on a wall. And so this is going to be -3 for the attack, +1, +1. So -1 overall. So I need a 9 or lower. And I got it. So now that I got it, the unit becomes revealed. We see that's a support squad. I beat it by 1. So now this is a normal. So it's a phasm of 1. So they need to hit a 6 or lower in order to remain good order. And they got it, so they're fine. So now it moves on to me, because that was my op fire. And I'm just going to pass, because there's not a lot for me to do yet. So I need to keep that 4 around if I can, so I'll just get rid of the 1. And we go on to the next card. Pretty much the same resolution, but now the node's on top. Objective zone undefended, no. Fog of war zone, yes. So let's randomly pick a fog of war zone. Actually, so let's do now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's not... Actually, this is closer. Never mind. This card would automatically be the one that's targeted. So sorry, I shouldn't have rolled for that. Because all of them can make it, because concealed units have a movement of 2. This only has a movement cost of 1, so they can make it into that card. So let's just pull this one. It's going to try to make it into here. Now I should probably op fire again. I forget who I set up here. Fire squad, and I can do the fire -2. Yeah, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to reveal this fire squad, and I'll pull... Actually, let's do this, try to run the game clock a little bit. So I'm doing fire -2. Again, it's +2 from that. So that ends up evens, so I need a 9 or lower. Oof, did not get it. So they remain concealed because the attack failed, and they make it into here. I actually should have already assigned that 4 to them when they moved. So actually, let's do this. There, that still works. Okay, so they are there. That's a little more disconcerting. I thought I had I put my other sentry squad here. Let's do that. I'm going to reveal them, so we're going to op fire again. So that was first op fire was as they entered here. Second op fire is going to be as they entered this spot, so that's open road. I'll take my last 5. So that's going to be -3 +1 for the intervening terrain, so -2 overall. So I need a 10 or lower on the shot. Got it. So with the 2, it's another support squad. So they need a 5 or lower, or they will pin, and they pin in the road. Okay, over to me. I think I'll try to push them back to the wall. Oh, he's revealed, so now that house is revealed. Well, actually, I don't have enough to do anything, so I'm just going to burn. Okay. Next, fire. No one's available to fire. Zone, melee, or zone-pinned enemy. So is there a zone that is 10 greater than equal to, 10 greater than equal to +1? So that is going to match this wall. It actually also matches these ones that begin revealed here for the scenario, this woods and brush up here, but this one is closer to a known objective and stacking limits observed, so it's going to go here. Now the thing that's worth noting, although it's not going to make the biggest difference, is that this has a override of advance, and you'll see all conceal counters have advance as a option, which means that all of them can advance. So this one will actually perform an advance, so I wouldn't even be able to op fire if I wanted to. And it'll move into here. Now, the thing that's special now, just for the sake of explaining how concealment works, this is open terrain, open line of sight to open terrain, which means the unit is immediately revealed. So that was an MG34 getting into place on the wall, which is not fantastic for me. And it took an advance action, and there is one available, so it will take that rather than end the turn. So I will get the last action, and I am going to... I wish I had a fire die, but I don't. Yellow 2. Remind me what Miller... Yes, Miller can survey, but I don't have unhindered line of sight to that. I'm going to do it anyway. It's better than doing nothing. So I'm going to reveal Miller, and I'm going to assign survey to him. And of the ones I can see, I would like to cover... I wish I could see that card. It's probably really what I should do. This is the bigger problem right now. So I'm just going to survey right here. So that's a house, which is not what I would like, and a road, which is what I would like. So we will swap that for a road, and I will choose to leave it face up. Put that on the deck. Okay, so that ends the game turn. Let's go ahead and play one more game turn. So we are going to reset. The deck is not reshuffled at the end of the game turn. We do not reshuffle until we see the reshuffle card. So let's go ahead, put these back, add one from the timer. Where's that red die? There's that red die. Yellow, blue. Where's that last white? Sometimes I have a hard time seeing these things. There it is. It's where's Waldo. Okay, and we reshuffle. I keep saying shuffle because that's what it's called in Tabletop Simulator, but oops. So that was actually supposed to be over here. Get that one out of the way. This one out of the way. It's going to be a short turn. That was a good number of sixes. Okay, so again, the German has initiative, so we're going to flip. Take cover. Is anybody on objective zone? No. Is anybody on a TEM greater than or equal to +2? No. Does anybody have... That was actually the override there was support. I should evaluate that. I have a support squad, but they have no need to function because the support action doesn't have a valid target. None of the units are used. So, move. Can a unit advance? Yes, there is a bunch of units that can advance. Can they move into a melee or lone pin enemy? No. Can they move into a friendly zone? Within a friendly zone that has terrible TEM, so less than or equal to -1? No. And then is there a fog of war zone with a source TEM that is less than or equal to +1? So yes, and this is worth covering. The MG34 here can advance, but it will not advance into this card because it would take it away, or it would take it further from the nearest known objective. So that will not perform that action, so instead it'll be another one of these choosing to advance. So let's just grab this one. So it's going to go for nearest known. So again, that's going to be between these. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to go right there. And it advanced in, so it's going to choose to take a 3. I'll take it from there. And over to me. Okay, I am extremely concerned about this MG34. And I only have 1 3 to suppress with, so that's what I'm taking. So it just gets the +1, and then I'm -4 from suppressing fire, so I just need not box cars for this. Okay, so 6, so plenty. The modifier caps out at +4, so it's a 3 or lower for the support squad. So they pin, and it's going to be Snake Eyes for the MG34. And they are actually eliminated. I don't think I've covered this before, so I'm going to cover it now. Anytime you would have a support weapon become eliminated, if it's in the same zone with friendly infantry, they can pick up the weapon effectively. So this is going to become reduced in order to maintain that. So we're going to get a support half squad that represents the remaining men that are dedicated to that function. And then the MG34 gets to remain in place and just becomes pinned. Okay, so that was pretty effective. Next card, Fog of War adjacent. Well, there's plenty of those now. And they would pop smoke. Safe path to a... So we don't have to cover it. Fog of War adjacent already evaluates, and the best actor is going to be... Well, actually, no, all these are spent now. So it's going to be from the rest of these, so that one's still face down. Resolve it the same way. 5, 6. We'll take this one, move it into there. So that's a 4 or a 5. That'll work. Back to me. Well, now I need to try to actually route them off board, because that would be very helpful for me. So I'm going to... It's going to take that die anyway. Whatever. So I'm going to fire. This is just a standard fire action. So it's +1 for the wall, so I need a 7 or lower. Roll my rulebook there as well. That's a miss. Back to the bot. Rally. Are any of them in TEM +2? No. Are any of them with an MRM greater than or equal to +2? They would route. No. None of those are true. So we go on to fire. Can anybody fire? No. They're all pinned. These ones are used. Down to move. No one can scout. And so we're going to do more Fog of War stuff. So this is still early in the scenario, so this is a lot of setup on behalf of our bot. It's going to go into here. It's another 5. I'll burn a die. And then the last action is going to be... Alright, so this is a leader card, which this is pretty serendipitous that this will be our last action I'm going to show, but this is how a leader bot card works. So, leader rally. Are any of them in range, command range of units that are pinned and need to rally? No, because they're in the staging area. Can any of them survey? Is there an open zone in line of sight to the enemy? No, not well. These are, but they wouldn't be able to do it anyway because they have units on them. And so same thing for the TEM there. So then we go. All right, coordinate. Are there 2 units in the stack? Yes, because they are technically stacked with all of these. So either Mueller or Braun is going to activate a coordinate action. So let's just say odds is Mueller and evens is Braun. So Mueller is going to move a stack. We're going to pull 2 units randomly that he is going to stack with. And then the way this works is we're going to draw cards until there is a valid coordinate action they can perform, which since they're off board, that just means the next move node. So we're going to flip. Oh, that's another leader card. Those are invalid. Move. So pretty similar here. We're looking for a Fog of War zone that they can move into. So this one is actually interesting because the way this is going to work is they're going to try to get as close to... Oh, but that's going to take them further away. So it's not going to do that. So instead, it's going to be... This one is going to be the only one they can move into without taking any kind of unnecessary loss there. So they're just going to automatically move into this one. By unnecessary loss, I mean preserving stacking limits. So moves into here. The card becomes flipped. So that's open road. And this is the only card. So even though there isn't a 3 for him to perform the coordinate, we just take the last die available, and that will end the game turn. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how the bot works. I hope you can see it's really quick. Once you get the rules down, which, you know, a lot of these rules, tiebreakers, stuff like that, are going to be on a player aid. But once you have read through it, you've played a couple of games with the bot, it becomes second nature, and you can just blow right through these bot turns. Very frequently for me, playing against the bot turns are considerably faster than playing against a human opponent. So anyway, again, hopefully that gives you an idea of how the bot works. I have big plans for this bot. It's pretty much the way, there's obvious balance tweaks and stuff I'm still looking to do before the game comes out, but this is essentially core bot functionality, but with potential expansions in the future, I have some plans on how to build out the bot more and make it even more flexible. But yeah, if you have not already, please go check out Firefight Tactical on GMT's website. Check out the P500, and if you haven't ordered a copy, please consider ordering it, because in my very biased opinion, this is a great game. I think there's also a lot of potential fun here for you solo players out there that are just like, oh, I want to play a tactical game, a really crunchy tactical game that also, spares none of the feel and the tactics of the game when playing against a bot. As I hope you picked up on it, the bot here is very unpredictable but still logical. I've said in other videos, my personal pet peeve when it comes to bot design is I don't want to ever be in a situation playing against a bot where I'm like, I have seen this game state before, I know what the bot's going to do, and you will never have that playing Firefight Tactical. So again, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for your time.